So, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. So, Joe Budden proposed, went through a whole big Times Square type thing,
Okay.
and to everyone's surprise, you said no.
I don't believe that after Joe Budden proposing and going through this whole big shebang, that was a surprise for everyone. I disagree with you, Vlad. I think that those that know. I think that, the fact that he went through such a big ordeal, for a female is a big thing. Especially for my female fans and just for my fans in general. I just, you guys see, a quarter or less of what, my whole life is about, so there's more behind just, that whole proposal and just more behind than what you guys see. At the end of the day, I had to do what was right for me. Whether my fans like it, love it, understand it or not, I'm the only one, or have been the only one in that relationship. So you guys get a chance to see it. I think that I would say 70% of my fans pretty much agreed with me. The other 30, they get all cooped up into what that proposal was, and because it was super big and because it was on 42nd Street. I mean, quite frankly, the man could have proposed to me with Chinese and the dogs around me, and I think it would have meant, a lot more to me. See, I think that, no, wait, and not to interrupt you, I think that when I said to him, everybody saw me say, move the sun, moon, and the stars for me. I think that, it sounded really big, but it's not about the clarity of a ring or the stone or where you do it. It's about, everything else behind that. And I don't know, I was messed up behind it all. But if you even watch the episode after, when I say no to him in the proposal, he tells his mom, well, Tahiry wanted me to move the sun, the moon, and the stars, and I gave her this ring. What else did she want me to do? So was he really doing it for me? And if he was just doing it for me because he thought that's what I wanted, then that's not what I want. I want somebody to do it because they want to do it. If I'm trying to make, kind of, it's a lot. So I'm trying to break down the whole situation about that proposal, the way I felt about it. It was a lot, though.
Were you surprised?
Well, how can I be surprised when he shares everything on Instagram and Twitter? I was surprised because I knew something was coming up. I just didn't know when it was gonna be. He's busy Instagramming and tweeting all day about everything. There is no line when it comes to him and his personal. So as much as he wanted it to be a surprise, how can it be a surprise when you're, Instagramming and tweeting the GSEA certificate, the 1, 2, 3 days, like I knew something was happening. I didn't know how and where or when, but I knew he was up to something, so.
One of the things that you mentioned on camera was getting married is something that you've always wanted, so women are different. Some women have the fairy tale, I want to get married and have a family. Other women are like, I don't really care about marriage.
I think that women, at some point after going, as women, we go through a lot. Some of us women go through a lot, and in dating and even in in boyfriends and relationships, we deal with a lot. So I think that every woman, every little girl has that whole, I'm gonna get married one day. They have that fairy tale wedding, the stuff that they embed in your head when you're a child, on that big white dress, that big wedding, that white picket fence. As women, we grew up with that embedded in us. I think that as we mature, we get older, or we just go through life experiences in relationships, you just become so jaded at times where you're like, I don't care about a wedding. I've always wanted to get married. I've always been I've always been a relationship-based kind of individual. Every one of my relationships have been long-term. It was just after the breakup with Joe where I kind of saw myself wanting to do something different, because dating. Now I'm single after being in relationships all my life, so I'm like, oh, it's 2000 and I could date, and then I was like, yeah, it's not for me. So to me, I've always been that person. I come from a very traditional background. My mom is very, the Dominican, that you must marry a virgin, you must, you leave in my house this way, you weddings and all this extra back in the day kind of stuff. So that's how I grew up. So yeah, my whole life I had that in mind. I had the whole wedding, white dress, big family get-togethers. Today, I still believe in marriage. I am still a hopeless romantic. I refuse to allow anybody to take that away from me. No matter what I've gone through, I just, I kind of see them as experiences, and they made me better and stronger. So maybe today I don't want a huge wedding. Maybe today I want something more intimate. Maybe today I want less extravagant dress. But I do want to get married, and I do want to be dressed in white, like I did when I was a little girl. Do I think if the proposal would have been played out privately and nothing to do with the show, would have been a different answer? No. Because it's not about the proposal, it's not about the marriage, it's about the work in between that wasn't done. It's about, yeah, I want you to move the sun, the moon, and the stars, but we weren't even talking at that moment. You had maybe, we went for, and this is, sometimes I wish we had like a show, he said, she said, so we can go back and forth and we can be in a Budweiser hot seat, so we can like pretty much like argue the situation. The time frame was as follows. You have some chick with foundation or fucking spray tan or whatever it is on my bed. 3 months later, you propose, but we don't talk. 3 weeks later, you're tweeting back like a jackass, but then you're mad at me for saying no. That means there was no change. There was no work. With or without me. Because it's normal for a woman not to want to be around a man after he's done that. So he claims, Tahiry, I wanted to do the work, you just never allowed me in. You never allowed me. You never allowed me to show you I can do the work. I don't have to allow you to do shit. Be good, be better by yourself, and then come see me. So to me, it's more about the work that wasn't done in between. You have not shown me anything. I mean, those that follow him on Instagram and Twitter can see it themselves. And even if those that are around him, like I was. So it's not about the ring, and it's not about, he could have gave me something I couldn't see with the naked eye. It's about the work. It's about the beef in between them two slices of bread. It's about, the build-up before, you reach the, the climax. It's about foreplay before, I come. That's my problem with Joe. It's not about the ring or the proposal. We all knew, everybody knows we love each other. So what? Sometimes love isn't enough.
So, are you pretty much saying that when he proposed, you weren't even really together?
When he proposed, if you watch the show, Vlad, we went from foundation to he moves on to other things and dealing with his sister's situation. We weren't together. Everybody knew we weren't together.
But I mean, you never know.
Yeah, you're right. You never know. On those shows, you never know. On them shows, real or fake, people have their own, ways of interpreting reality TV shows. The fact of the matter is that VH1 tells you what it is before you sign the paperwork. You sign and you sign off. They're in control of editing. As a person who, a lot of these people don't have much going on in their lives, but they want to have airtime. Once you become uninteresting, VH1 stops filming you because you're uninteresting. So you're forced to argue with people, beef with people, pull stories that never exist, have lines that you don't even, you forced to have shoe lines that don't exist, things that ain't even moving. You're selling a whole bunch of shit. But there's certain people like I, for instance, that really have shit happening in real time. And everything that happened between Joey and I this season have been in real time. It has been. So that situation that was happening, maybe his reactions would have not been what they were. Maybe, at some point things happened off camera that we had to reenact to finish that story so you guys could understand it. But everything that Joey and I are going through on the show is actually, at least from my end, what's happening. The day that it's not, I'm fine with telling you, that wasn't real, and I was just, doing what I had to do. But quite frankly, from day one to now, when it comes to Joey and I, that's what makes it so captivating. That's what makes it so, that's why people can relate. Because, it is what it is. It's what's happening. You guys are just privy to it. And I sit back every Monday and watch it with popcorn like I cannot believe this. And I relive most of these situations because they're so real. And I've even cried watching myself cry. And then I question myself, like, who does that? But that's my life.